So a cycle is a sequence of events that repeats itself again and again. In the previous lesson, we learned that stages in the life cycles of flowering plants and trees are both from seed to seed. The life cycles begin with seeds and end with the plants and trees producing new seeds. So in this card, what stage of the life cycle is this? These are the seeds. What stage of the life cycle does this card show? This is germination or a seedling. And this also shows the same stage. This is germination or seedling. What stage does this picture show? This is a mature flowering plant. When a plant reaches maturity, it flowers and produces fruit. This will start the life cycle over again once seeds are dispersed. Here the seeds are being dispersed. So think about how the seasonal cycle affects the life cycle of deciduous trees. Remember, deciduous trees are trees that have leaves. You've now learned about the seasonal cycle, the life cycle of a flowering plant, and the life cycle of a tree. What do all of these things have in common? All living things, plants, animals, and even people, journey through differing stages from birth to adult, called a life cycle. You're going to continue learning about the life cycle as experienced by a very familiar bird. So I want you to think about the title of today's read aloud, which came first, the chicken or the egg, and I want you to predict whether the chicken or the egg comes first. I want you to listen carefully to find out whether or not your predictions are correct and to learn about the main topic of today's read aloud, the life cycle of a chicken. A chicken is a type of bird. Did you know that there are more chickens in our world than any other type of bird? In fact, there are more chickens on Earth than people. Scientists believe that chickens are the closest living relative of the Tyrannosaurus rex, one of the largest dinosaurs that ever lived. Can you see why? Like all birds, chickens have feathers and wings and they lay eggs. Chickens can fly but not very far. Have you ever heard the question, which came first, the chicken or the egg? Listen carefully to this lesson on the life cycle of a chicken and you'll see why that question is so difficult to answer. All living things go through a sequence of stages from birth to adult, called a life cycle. The life cycles of plants and trees begin with seeds. The life cycles of chickens begin with eggs. Have you ever cracked an egg open? The outer layer that you crack is called the eggshell. Eggshells can be many different colors, including white, light brown, speckled, pale blue, or even green. Inside the shell, the egg consists of a yellow yolk, which is made mostly of fat, and a white part called the albumin. So many people compare the layers of the earth to the layers of an egg. How are they similar and how are they different? Do you know what a female chicken is called? A female chicken is called a hen. Do you know what a male chicken is called? A male chicken is called a rooster. Hens lay eggs. Not all eggs become baby chickens or chicks. In order to produce chicks, a rooster must fertilize the eggs before the hen lays them. Fertilization is similar to pollination. Just like flowers need pollen from another flower in order to make seeds, hens need roosters in order for their eggs to become baby chickens or chicks. Eggs that are not fertilized do not become baby chickens. They are sent to stores so that people can buy them and eat them. As soon as a hen lays her fertilized eggs, she will begin to care for them. The hen will sit on the eggs and even turn the eggs to make sure that they stay warm. The eggs need to stay warm for 21 days in order to develop into chicks. 21 days is 3 weeks. Let's find out what happens inside the egg during this time. Inside the fertilized egg, great changes are happening. A tiny embryo is developing inside the egg. An embryo is an animal in the early stages of life before it is born or has hatched. The embryo needs food, water, and oxygen to grow and develop. Within 48 hours of fertilization, tiny red blood vessels spread out from the embryo to the yolk into the inside of the shell. Directly under the shell are two membranes or air sacs containing oxygen. As the embryo develops and grows into a chick, it uses this oxygen. The supply of oxygen is replenished or replaced as oxygen passes through the shell of the egg. How does oxygen pass through the shell of an egg? If you look at an eggshell under a magnifying glass, you'll see that it has tiny holes called pores that allow oxygen in and carbon dioxide out. So humans have millions of pores. Pores are the openings of our skin, out of which hair grows. The parts of the egg inside the shell contain all the food the growing embryo needs to develop into a fully formed chick. The yellow yolk provides the food necessary for the embryo to grow big and strong. The white of the egg, or albumin, surrounds the yolk and provides the growing embryo with more food and water. The first part to develop is the chick's nervous system. Then the brain starts to form, and then the heart starts to beat. After 5 days, the wings and the legs begin to develop. After 7 days, the embryo is fully formed but is quite tiny. Around the 10th day, feathers begin to develop and the growth of the fully formed embryo into a chick accelerates or speeds up. So look at these pictures. What is the difference between day 8 and day 20 in terms of the chick's development? As the chick grows, it uses up its food supply. After 20 days inside the egg, the chick pierces or makes a hole in the air sac, and it begins to breathe air with its own lungs for the first time. This means that the chick is ready to hatch out of the egg. The chick begins to chirp to let its mother know that it will soon be in the outside world. On the 21st day, the chick uses its egg tooth to chip a circle around the inside of the shell. It pushes against the sides of the egg with its body to break open the shell. When the chick first emerges, it is tired from the effort of breaking out of its shell. It is also wet. Before long, however, the feathers dry out and become lovely and fluffy. Have you ever seen newborn chicks? Where did you see them? The mother hen, having cared for her eggs, continues to care for her chicks. She will shelter them under her wing to keep them warm and dry. Chicks know instinctively how to scratch around in the dirt for food. So they know how to scratch around for food without being taught to do so. For the first 2 weeks, the chicks stay close to their mother. Chicks grow quickly in the first months of their lives. When a female is about 6 months old, she will start to lay eggs. These first eggs will be quite small, though. Interestingly, females are called pullets, not hens, until they are 1 year old. Roosters are able to fertilize eggs at a similar age. And so the life cycle begins all over again. A rooster fertilizes eggs before a hen lays them. The hen will care for the fertilized eggs and keep them warm. After 21 days, the eggs will hatch and new chicks will emerge. Now that you know more about the life cycle of a chicken, which do you think came first, the chicken or the egg? Were your predictions correct about whether the chicken or the egg comes first? Why or why not? What is the main topic of the read aloud? How does the life cycle of a chicken begin? What 3 parts make up an egg? Do all eggs develop into baby chicks or go through a complete life cycle? How does the mother hen help her chicks grow inside the eggs? What does a growing chick use for food before it hatches? What does a baby chick do to break out of its shell when it hatches? What are the 3 stages of the life cycle of a chicken? In the read aloud you heard, the supply of oxygen is replenished or replaced as oxygen passes through the shell of the egg. Say the word replenished with me. Replenished. The word replenished means to replace, restore, or refill. The refrigerator was almost empty and the groceries needed to be replenished. What's the word we've been talking about? Replenished.